What's going on, everybody? This is the Oregon Football Report. I am your host, Will Ortner, and if you're back for round two, we appreciate you so very much. We've got daily Oregon Ducks football content coming out for you here on the channel, and today we need to talk about the transfer portal. I get it. A lot of Oregon fans, myself included, don't want to think about the transfer portal or people moving on because we need to be focused on JMU. But it's never too early to take a look at where some positions of need might pop up, who might be leaving, and if the Ducks will look into the portal and for whom. Now, first, I want to dive into some players that could be leaving. Now, I'm going to leave out the seniors, so don't expect me to say, oh, I'm going to be sad when Bryce Betcher leaves. Well, I am going to be sad when Bryce Betcher leaves, but there is a contingency plan already set up by the Oregon Ducks to fill his shoes once he does go. I want to talk more so about the players that could be leaving. And of course, you have to start off that conversation with quarterback Dante Moore. It kind of feels a little bit like Michael Scott when he had to get his vasectomy. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snack. Dante Moore, it felt like after the beginning of the year with how well he played, he's clearly coming out. He's going to be a high draft pick in the NFL draft. And then he kind of cooled off a little bit. You had some injuries for the Ducks, and it's like, well, the rest of the national media saying, I don't know, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, he's not going to be one of those guys. And quietly, we in Oregon and in the Pacific Northwest, we're always saying, I don't know. Dante Moore is a pretty darn good quarterback. He's really shown, too, I think, as the last little bit of the season has gone on, just how good of a quarterback he is. Absolutely torching USC and UW, letting everyone know that he is a good quarterback. Look at that line right there. Will Stein's offense makes it easy to find completions. Dante Moore also found the difficult completions and made sure that they got completed. In my personal opinion, if I'm Dante Moore, go into the NFL draft, buddy. Look, selfishly, I would love Moore to stay at Oregon and be the starting quarterback for another year. But that's not how the world works. Sometimes quarterbacks, players, they need to move on. And I understand that even in the NIL era that Dante Moore, he's probably doing pretty comfortably. He can do a lot better in the National Football League, and he can build himself up for that retirement. You never know when that injury is going to come. If I'm Dante Moore and I'm looking at these PFF and I'm looking at Dane Brugler's and I'm looking at Field Yates mock drafts and I'm going top 5, I'd be seeing the door too. That's not a big deal. I get it, and there's no hate off my back. Make sure you go in and smash that like button if you love Oregon Duck football. Help us out here on the channel. The bosses were saying we need to get those like numbers up. Help us out. Go in, smash that thumbs up button. The more that you do that, the more that you get your friends to subscribe to the channel, the more videos that we can pump out for you. So help us out. Go in, smash that thumbs up button. The next player that we need to talk about potentially leaving the Oregon Ducks, and again, I kind of feel this is a foregone conclusion, Kenyon Sadiq. I mean, look at this guy. Look at him. He's an absolute freak. He's jacked to the umpth degree. It feels like every game that I watch him, he's trying to hurdle somebody. He can block as well. He's fast. He runs great routes. He catches the ball well, and he finds the end zone. Kenyon Sadiq is an absolute freak, and he's rated to be one of the first, if not the first, tight end in most mock drafts right now. I think once you see him head to the combine, you see him at the Oregon Pro Day, you are going to see a lot of NFL executives, a lot of NFL scouts go, oh, yeah, no, that guy's going to go top 15. Not just top 20. He's an absolute freak. And again, if you are going to be picked in the top 20, go to the NFL draft. No skin off my back, Kenyon Sadiq. Next player, I want to talk about Amari Washington and what could be going on at the defensive line. You're going to actually see a nice little run on defensive linemen here for the Ducks. If I'm Washington, I think you're going to see him jump up just like Kenyon Sadiq did when he goes in and gets his evaluation for where he could potentially be drafted in the NFL draft. It's going to be high. I mean, shoot, Field Yates, that's a person that I greatly respect his opinion when it comes to his mock draft. Had Washington going 22 to the Houston Texans. Now, does that necessarily mean that he's a guaranteed top 25 pick? No, not necessarily. But an interior defensive lineman that is getting to start this year and is absolutely causing havoc on the interior of a defense, that's massive massive for NFL teams, and they are going to be calling. I also think for Washington, it helps that a guy like Derek Harmon came from your school. He shows that they know how to build good interior defensive linemen at the University of Oregon. I mean, shoot, Oregon is sneaky becoming D-line U. I think it's important to note, and I would not be shocked if Washington ends up leaving. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We're on the road right now. We're trying to get to 1,000. But to get to 1,000 subscribers, we first got to get to 100 new subscribers. Help us out. Hit that sub button because you love the Oregon Ducks. Another defensive lineman that we have to talk about, Matayo Uiaglelei, the Big Ten leader in sacks in the 2024 season. Could he end up going into the NFL draft? Matayo Uiaglelei is the type of player that I think fits well in most defensive schemes in the National Football League. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can play in a 4-3 just as easily as he can play in a 3-4. He's known as Young Concrete for a reason. Shout out to Big Dave. He is a strong physical player that while his speed might not be up there with the next player that we're going to talk about, he still gets to the quarterback at an alarming rate. Last player, Tritium Tuioti. Now, I don't believe that Tuioti would necessarily enter the NFL draft. I also think with Matayo Uiaglelei, it really is just going to depend on where they are both seen as when it comes to the NFL scouts. Are they going to be high draft picks or are they going to be low draft picks? In my mind, I think that both of them have the potential to leave Oregon, but they also have the potential to come back and stay. We saw this happen with JTT and Jack Sawyer over at Ohio State. Hopefully, Uiaglelei and Tritium Tuioti, they decide to do the same thing. Keep the Ducks rocking and rolling because those two, man, they're ferocious on the edges. Make sure that you share this video on social media as well. Help us expand our reach there. Now, I'm not counting any of the seniors that are leaving. I already did my piece on Betcher or on guys like World on the offensive side. It just doesn't make sense to really talk about them in a manner that can be a little bit unbefitting. Like, we already knew that those seniors were going to be gone. Dan Lanning already had a plan for them when they were going to be gone. The guys that we just talked about, we were talking about them more so as a, hey, they might go. Some of them probably are going to go. A couple of them, maybe that they hang out. You're going to lose a lot with the seniors that are leaving, but you should have already had a plan in your system and on your roster to back those guys up. Are you nervous about what Dan Lanning and this roster will look like in 2026? Type Y for yes, you're nervous. Type N for no. You should type N for no, and I should see a lot of no, I'm not nervous about Coach Lanning and what he builds because, well, Dan Lanning has just continued to build a winner year after year after year that he has been here. Every year it feels like you're in contention for a conference championship. Makes me trust Dan Lanning that he's going to have this squad ready to go. So the question then comes to, what are going to be the positions of need for the Ducks to fill? I'll give you a hint. There's already one that we were looking at in that list 5 there, but first we're going to dive into the offensive line. Now, you're going to have multiple players that are leaving the Oregon Ducks, whether it is because they're graduating and moving on that offensive line, or they're looking at the NFL, or possibly a little bit of both. I believe that Lanning is going to take an iron sharpens iron type of approach. He has not been afraid to go into the portal and go and grab guys and bring them into the system. You just saw it with Isaiah World, right? Hey, the Ducks, they need a new left tackle. Goes and grabs the best tackle in the transfer portal, and then he becomes a key starter for you. Now, it is important to note that you've had some of your young guys like Fox Crater come in and get some spot starts. So there is the opportunity for the Ducks to say, hey, we don't need to use the portal. We've seen some of these young guys play already. We can just plug them in and go. But me, personally, what I think, you can never have enough offensive linemen. It's why I love the way that Coach Lanning coaches. He goes out and he says, I'm going to grab the best talent that I possibly can, and I'm going to plug those guys in to see if they can fight it out, duke it out with the guys I already have here, and then the best player that we have, they're going to be the one that plays on Saturdays. I love it. I want competition as much as possible. It needs to be aggressive when you are talking about offensive linemen. The players have to be aggressive. The coaches have to be aggressive. And I think that is what's most important there. When we look at that D-line / outside linebackers, I already talked about these two cats earlier, Matayo Uiaglelei and Tritium Tuioti. They are going to be the two that kind of hinge for that position. Both of them are eligible to go into the draft if they so choose. Both of them are eligible to come back to the Oregon Ducks if they so choose. If they choose to run it back, Jack Sawyer and JTT style, the Oregon Ducks are going to be pretty darn good on those edges. And I don't think that you need to go into the transfer portal. I think that you're pretty darn strong there. Now, if one of them leaves, let's say it's Matayo Uiaglelei. He says, hey, I can be a day 2 pick guy, maybe potentially sneak into that first round. Okay, well then maybe you do leave. Expect a portal signing. If both of them leave, well, shoot, then the Ducks are really going to have to dive into that portal. Now, you have plenty of guys that are still there. I really like what Blake Purchase has been doing this year. But I do think it is important to note that if one of these guys leaves, you are going to need someone in the portal, and I think Lanning has shown that he can go and get those types of players to come out and perform at the highest level for you. I think we've seen that go pretty darn well for the Ducks in the past. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We got daily Oregon Ducks content coming out for you that you don't want to miss. Help us grow this thing and let everybody know that the Oregon Ducks, we're not new blood. We are truly blue bloods now when it comes to college football. Cornerback. This is the last room, and this is the room that I can definitely guarantee that there will be a transfer portal pickup just with the amount of bodies that the Ducks are going to lose. You're going to have a couple guys that are going to graduate and move on, as well as you've already seen a couple Oregon Ducks enter into the transfer portal. So it makes sense for Coach Lanning to go in and grab a cornerback or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever he needs. Now, he's shown that he can have success grabbing Muhammad a couple of years ago from UW, plugging him into the cornerback room of Oregon, and instantly that group taken off without a beat. I think that Lanning has earned our trust that whoever he or his coaching staff go in and grab in the portal, that they are going to work for Oregon. And if they don't, that's fine, because it means somebody else that was already in-house beat them out. So I think at this point, we just have to trust that Coach Lanning is going to get the job done when it comes to that portal. Help us out. Make sure that you go in and you like the video because you love the Oregon Ducks. You want to smash that thumbs up button. The more likes that we get, that means more opportunities for us to bring videos to you. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Help us out. We're trying to grow the channel as fast as humanly possible. It means so much to us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.